If I'm Krebs, how am I adjusting? Welcome to the Bauer Battle Breakdown, where we learn and grow together. In game 2 of this set, Krebs decides to lead with Calyrex and Amoonguss to my Palkia and Amoonguss. We both have a mushroom, and this play is super easy to me because I have Tapu Koko in the back. I'm able to Dynamax right away with Palkia and put on some pressure immediately, while swapping in Tapu Koko allows me to basically avoid anything silly that Amoonguss may want to do. You see the Dynamax Palkia here, and notably, Krebs' Amoonguss does not do Rage Powder, which makes me feel even better about the switch. I do try to attack the Amoonguss. Anyway, Calyrex goes for Glacial Lance, hoping to catch the Amoonguss on the back foot, I imagine. The Spore comes out and does get blocked. So right away, it looks like I'm in a really excellent position. I'm free to do another Whirlwind, basically without consequence. And Tapu Koko can do a Thunderbolt. I try to attack Calyrex, thinking that Amoonguss will probably do exactly this, go ahead and Rage Powder. I was originally worried that this may not KO, but I was on electric terrain, so it ended up being okay. This Whirlwind is going to do a ton of damage and bring Calyrex down an additional attack step, but there's about to be a problem. The opening looked pretty well in my favor, but things are going to turn around quite heavily over the span of about one turn. Bringing Tapu Koko in order to counter Amoonguss was good in the fact that it prevented my Palkia from falling asleep. Unfortunately, Tapu Koko is garbage under Trick Room. Krebs is going to cycle out his Calyrex in order to refresh those attack drops in favor of Mimikyu, and then Dynamax Kyogre, who is now the slowest Pokemon in play. Tapu Koko is going to protect, but unfortunately, it's actually not going to be enough. This Geyser is going to come in and clean up Tapu Koko, who did basically nothing but block a single Spore. Palkia is going to max Quake. Thankfully, I'll be able to get a special defense increase to my Palkia. I'll break the disguise, but unfortunately, Krebs now has 2 whole extra turns of Dynamax. Now I bring in my own Calyrex to do a little bit of fighting here under the Trick Room, and I figure I'm going to try and get as much damage as I possibly can onto the board. Mimikyu is brought down considerably. The Will-O-Wisp targets the Palkia, which originally I was a little bit surprised at, but Krebs is about to do to me what I did to him in game 1. Remember how I said Palkia KOs Calyrex and Rain with a Geyser? Well, Life Orb Kyogre is going to do the same thing to my own Calyrex. So other than that Glacial Lance, it won't get to do anything else, and we're making trades left and right. Not only did Tapu Koko do almost nothing for me outside of blocking the Spore, but now it's actually going to backfire against me. With 1 turn of electric terrain, Amoonguss can't really do much here. Granted, I can protect with Amoonguss in order to stall out that last turn of terrain and still have a turn of Trick Room to act with Spore, but it leaves my Palkia as a sitting duck. If I were to Rage Powder with Amoonguss, it still would have gotten KO'd to this Glacial Lance. So this move from Krebs is unfortunately basically free. Max Hailstorm is going to pick up the KO on Palkia because he knows that he does not have to deal with Amoonguss in any way. So Kyogre's Dynamax is going to end here after some stuff takes hail damage, and I spend a good deal of time here trying to play to my outs. I eventually decide that I'm going to Spore Kyogre. So when I see the Calyrex protect, I was so hyped, but as it turns out, it was just a double protect to stall out the last turn of Trick Room. And then that's all but curtains for me. I decided that I want to try and Spore Kyogre a second time, but Amoonguss is not going to get that chance. And so Krebs is going to clean up this game 2 very convincingly. This game is interesting because I set myself up to respond to Krebs's lead perfectly, but unfortunately I did so at the sacrifice of everything else. If you watched it live, you know that I wanted to bring Amoonguss in order to offer some sort of redirection. Not the worst idea. However, when Krebs' 2 primary threats are Calyrex Ice and Kyogre, the redirection doesn't really do any good. and I brought Tapu Koko, which is a shot in the foot to the other tool that Amoonguss has, and that's putting things to sleep. So yes, I was able to swap out my Amoonguss and go, ha, gotcha. But then Krebs got Trick Room up, which not only made Tapu Koko useless, but it also negated Amoonguss even into that end game when Amoonguss finally came back out. I still could not do the Spore that I needed. I would have been a lot better off doing some more defensive switches after disabling that sleep. It would have allowed me to get more mileage out of Tapu Koko and more mileage out of Amoonguss. I also find it very fitting that I basically got suckered into losing my Calyrex the same way that I was surprised that I KO'd Krebs' Calyrex. It's almost the exact same calculation. I only got one Glacial Lance off before having it get KO'd. Thankfully, going into Game 3, I now know quite a bit more about Krebs' team, since Calyrex did not recover from the attack drops and took a significant chunk of change from the max Wormwind. I feel confident that it is holding a weakness policy. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Bauer Battle Breakdown. Be sure to come back at the same time next week to see the thrilling conclusion of this set with Krebs. If you're new here and missed the first game of this set, you can see how it all started here in this video. That's my time. I'll see you next week.